What up, YouTube? Darthub coming at you from a Redstone world again. Got a video for you. This one is on monostable circuits. And I think today I'll use an observer to explain the monostable circuit. Basically, when you give it power, it gives a quick pulse. And you saw that that flashed when I gave it power. That is the leading edge. Okay? And when you remove power, that's the falling edge. Okay, now you can use observers for this, but it's kind of complicated. You have to time it differently for each circuit that you use. So there are other monostable circuits that work far better, and we'll get into some of those right now. So right here in front of us, we have 3 leading edge monostable circuits and 3 falling edge monostable circuits. And if you'll notice, leading edge, leading edge, leading edge. They all pulse slightly different times. Falling edge, falling edge. That one's kind of fast. I like it. Falling edge. I did not design this one, or this one, or this one. These other ones I just came up with. I may have seen them before, I don't know. But anyway, let's get to building these. The first one I'm going to show you is an old one. It's a little bit different on Bedrock. I mean, you can do it this way in Java, but this has to be dust, and it has to be on a redstone conductive block, okay? And then you put the piston there with another redstone conductive block on top of it, and then a repeater here, and that's your output. So let's put the lamp there, and let's go ahead and put our input block here. And if you'll notice, leading edge, not the falling edge. If this is a repeater, it will power that block, but it will not power this block because that block is not powered, and this will not take power from the face block. So the next one I'm going to do is one that I used to do a lot. We'll go ahead and put a block there. I like to put a pumpkin here, and that's because I'm putting a torch on that. Now what that does is the torch, when it flashes on and off, it changes the light level. This pumpkin has a longer light radius than the torch does, so it absorbs that, stops it from happening, and that reduces lag. Okay, and we'll put a dust on this. We'll put a repeater out the front here, and this can be on either 2, 3, or 4 ticks, depending on the length of the pulse that you want out of the output. Then we'll put a lever here, and now you just run a torch off of that dust. I'm going to put a block up since I've got that in the ground with a torch here. There we go, we'll put that there, and if you'll notice, leading edge, leading edge. Notice it stayed on a little longer, and it stayed on the longest there. Now the first tick does nothing because this and that fire at the same time. This never changes state. Now this next one I came up with, I will bet that I saw it somewhere because it is so easy to make that I bet everybody that does redstones probably come up with it individually on their own. So basically what I've got here is your input block right there. You got your dropper facing this direction with your hopper facing into it. You could face this any which way. You could face the hopper or the dropper up with the hopper facing down into it. As long as the comparator is facing off of your hopper, then you'll get the output at the proper time. You just put your output out of there. Got to put an item in here, and then flip the switch. Those were the 3 leading edge monostable circuits I was going to show you today. Next we'll start with the falling edge monostable circuits. Now I came up with this one on my own too. We'll go ahead and make this the money block you want the input to come in from, and let's go ahead and throw a repeater out of that. Now this part's important, okay? With the dropper facing up. Now that repeater has to be there to hard power this, okay? Otherwise this won't work. Let's throw a couple of blocks for easy placement of these hoppers. Place a hopper there, a hopper facing down there, and a hopper facing into the dropper. Now you see which way those are facing. Okay, so now let's throw an item in here, and then a comparator out of this hopper there, and that runs directly as our output. Okay, so now when I flip this, what's going to happen is this hard powers the dropper. The dropper spit an item in here, but because this is hard powered, that is locked. So if you notice, that has the item. And when power is released, it goes in here, then in there, then in there. And when it passes this one, it takes output. This next one's going to look a little bit different than it did over there. We're going to go ahead and throw a block here, make that our money block, and we'll put a redstone dust right here, and then a repeater here and here. This one on 2 ticks, that one on 1, into a repeater here, and a block there. This repeater here is our output, and what we've got going on here is when you flip this, that goes and then this goes. Okay, so this is locked right before that power goes, but then when we hit this, it unlocks before the power releases, and you get a little flash at the end. This was the first falling edge pulse that I learned. We'll go ahead and use 2 pumpkins, one here and one here, with a torch on both of those. We will put a repeater here on 2, 3, or 4 ticks into a block up with dust on it. Now this block, actually, you know what? Yeah, that block will be our torch block right there, and then we'll run our output here off of that torch. Now when we throw power, nothing, but then when you release it, it goes. Now the reason I like this one so much starting was because not only is it one wide, but you have some degree of control over the length of the pulse, as with this one. One thing I picked up in editing that I'm glad I watched these things a couple times before I put them out. If you come like this with power off of this guy right here, and that's going to be your input, it does not work. You'll notice that the repeater down there takes power, but the torch does not. Okay, so what you want to do is throw a piece of dust on there if you got to come in from the side, and then you get power. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and click that button. If you want to see more content like this, hit that notification bell. I make something like this every now and again. It's been real. Peace.